Coming up in this WrestleTalk news, Triple H gets in trouble over all women's show comments, where in the world is the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and more. But before we get into that, super kick the subscribe and thumbs up buttons right in the face for more daily wrestling news, as it really helps us out.
Support WrestleTalk!
Now, there's been a lot of criticism recently for WWE, specifically when it comes to how they treat their female talent, with Reginald somehow still hogging the entire division, released stars like Mickie James receiving their belongings in bin bags, and reports of how many stars campaign for more screen time and potentially another all-women's pay-per-view like Evolution. Now, following her WWE release, Mickie James said that WWE were reluctant to produce more all-female shows, saying she was told by someone in the company they're never going to do it again, ever, and that women's wrestling doesn't make money or draw viewers. Interestingly, Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler's segment from this week's Raw was the most viewed bit of the show. Now, Mickie James has gone on to appear in NWA recently, announcing that she would be the top executive for an all-women's pay-per-view in the company dubbed NWA in Power, and invited women from all across the wrestling spectrum, no matter their contract status. As the question of women-only events keeps cropping up for WWE management, it seems like they may be running out of tactful ways to deal with it. On the media call for NXT TakeOver, Triple H was asked whether WWE would consider revisiting the likes of Evolution now that NWA have made their move. He said, with a pointed dig at NWA and a take on equality that... we'll just say it was a take on equality. A take on equality that was a take on equality. He said...
Haven't we already done them? It's a funny thing to me. I just don't... So equality is equality. Equality is not, I want my own show. Equality is not, we have to have our own program. If I told you that I was making an all-men's program and I didn't want women on it, it would be criticized. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I do think it's funny when people go, I want the best in the world regardless of contractual status. Well, I'm sorry, but from a business person standpoint, then why do we have contractual status? Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to wrestle the best women in the world, come to the WWE. That's where they are. If you want to go elsewhere and say that they are, that's an opinion. And you can. But it is what it is. And I, while I'm all for it, I was one of the biggest drivers of it. And will we do another all-women's event down the line? But possibly. But, it's not the must-have in the moment. I think we do an amazing job of displaying our female athletes. And is it perfect? No. Will it always be in flux? Yes. But I think we do a pretty good job. And my opinion, and again, my opinion, the best female performers in the world are in WWE, and then if they're not, they want to be.
Now this drew the ire of one of the best female wrestlers in the world, Thunder Rosa, who took umbrage with Triple H saying that all the best female wrestlers are in WWE because she tweeted, "The best female wrestlers are not located in one company, not even in one country. They spread over many companies and many countries, talented women across the globe." What did you make of Triple H's comments? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'm going to be replying from my desk, which is just out of shot over there. Now, another big question that WWE must get all the time is why the hell is going on with the Fiend? Because Bray Wyatt and his alter ego have not been seen on WWE programming since the Raw after Mania, and his mysterious disappearance has been chalked up to a few things. 1. Heat. 2. Injury. 3. No. Now, PW Insider's Mike Johnson is reporting that Wyatt is purposely being kept off of TV, but not because of any heat, which kind of makes it sound like they have a plan for Bray Wyatt to return to WWE in future, which can't possibly be true. They don't do plans. I just think it's likely they didn't want to double up on the spooky stuff while Alexa Bliss is running around with Lily. Before we crack on with the show, we just need to thank no one names their kid this anymore, Larry, and Luke's favourite fan, the one, the only, the awesome Bubba, for their support on Patreon. With SummerSlam set to not only be the biggest party of the summer, but potentially the entire year, according to that report from WrestleVotes that said sources told them that WWE planned to make the mid-year pay-per-view this year's WrestleMania, a lot of people's minds turned to those rumours we heard earlier this week that Brock Lesnar was set for an imminent WWE TV return and would likely have a role to play at SummerSlam, and fingers were crossed across the globe for that match between Lesnar and Lashley. But since then we've all had to prise our fingers apart because that dream match got debunked by Dave Meltzer, who said, as of a week ago, Lesnar-Lashley was not on the card. Now, Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast is claiming to know more. Taking to Twitter, he wrote, to add to some of the reports I'm seeing from good sources like Sean Ross Sapp, John Albert and WrestleVotes, the main event currently for SummerSlam is planned for Cena versus Reigns. Lesnar was in consideration for this show, but I have not heard that it's happening. Expect Lesnar to return at some point, but I personally have not been told he is on the card for sure. I know there were some reports regarding this, and it's not accurate. Now, I think that doesn't necessarily mean that Lesnar won't make an appearance, just that his involvement hasn't been confirmed for certain like some people have been reporting. Now, if Brock was going to make a surprise return to challenge Lashley, that is the sort of thing he would keep under wraps. But it is also worth noting that according to Whisper King Dave Meltzer, that he has heard that forces in WWE don't want to bring back Lesnar until a rivalry with Roman Reigns can be set up. Again. Speaking of WWE's love of going back to the well, which in this case now looks like the one from the ring because it is so worn and so overused, another of their greatest hits might be revisited again. It's releasing talent because it's gone over well. With Braun Srowman, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Ruby Riott, Lana and Santana Garrett joining Samoa Joe, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker Knight, Kalisto and Bo Dallas in future Endeavorsville, you might have thought the WWE would be done for now with releases because they've released an entire show's worth of talent. Well, not according to Andrew Zarian, who has heard rumblings that WWE have dug out the chopping block once more and could be now sharpening their axes. Because on the Mat Men podcast, he revealed, I do know that they want to cut back on these contracts and there are more releases. There will be more. I don't know when, but I was told, yeah, this isn't the final cut. So we'll see. Now, the contracts that Zarian is referring to are those of the likes of Braun Strowman, who had signed up to a multi-year deal with WWE in July 2019 that was reportedly worth over $1 million annually. This was back when it was believed that WWE were essentially locking talent in for the long haul in order to guarantee that they wouldn't leave and head over to AEW. So now that that initial fear has passed for the company, and in fact come to fruition with the likes of Dean Ambrose going over to AEW, maybe they're just readjusting their views on these deals that they've signed everyone up to. I'm not saying it's a good thing, it's just a thing. Speaking of Braun, Ollie told you yesterday that a report came out from PW Insider earlier this week claiming that he was looking for bookings on the independent circuit in the 5-figure range. Because if you want to get those hands, you need to fill them with money. Or not, as the case may be, because according to the more even-tempered alter ego of the train amongst people, Adam Scher, he took to Twitter to debunk this runaway rumour, saying, let me just get this FYI out. I have not spoken to anyone about bookings, but if you want to talk business, the email to my agent is in my bio. Thank for any confusion you may be reading online. Some of my confusion online is from the grammar of that last sentence. But with Braun and a host of other talent ousted from the main roster, there are some gaps that definitely now need plugging. So we can expect Vince to go fishing in the teeming, bountiful waters of NXT anytime soon. Ooh, a Karrion Kross. But what is it that Mr. McMahon looks for specifically, aside from bodied up blokes and blondes? Ringside News, who are gaining a good track record for this sort of reporting, has said that they were told that Vince is looking for personalities and is not looking for wrestlers. Wrestling company. I feel like at this point Vince would just be better off working on Whose Line Is It Anyway. Now, the report from Ringside also claims that Vince always asks, what's the character? But if the character is real or if the character is outlandish, it doesn't really matter. Well, I'm pretty sure almost everyone in NXT is a character, but they are also a wrestler, which creates the kind of conundrum of like, does Vince want them then? And if that's the case, maybe they could just all stay there. So as we talked about up front, SummerSlam is going to be the party of the damn year and the equivalent of WrestleMania for us live wrestling starved fans. And what is WrestleMania without a whole weekend's worth of entertainment to go along with it? So fitting then that on that NXT TakeOver media call ahead of this weekend's In Your House, Triple H confirmed that the next TakeOver will be taking place SummerSlam weekend. Now, Andrew Zarian and John Albert had already reported that TakeOver has been penciled in for Sunday, August 22nd, but Trips said that at the moment that's still a work in progress.
So it's a little bit of a work in progress as far as where that show lands. and how, as far as the SummerSlam weekend takeover, we're in a unique time coming out of the pandemic and getting back on the road and doing live events, and SummerSlam, going to Vegas in a stadium, and hopefully we'll have a full house, and it should be awesome. But it's a unique time, and a lot of it is sort of, as everybody is, trying to feel things out.
Now, one of the other things that the company has been forced to feel out during the pandemic is presenting full-blown pay-per-view events without a live audience in attendance. And this has led to them blissfully shortening the lengths of their events, some even clocking in under the runtime of a regular episode of Raw. Money in the Bank 2020 was just 2 hours and 14 minutes long. I was in bed so early that night. It was bliss. I think the snappier shows are definitely made for an easier, more enjoyable watch, with only the matches worthy of being on the card, and far less filler. Not no filler, less filler. Definitely still seen some filler. There's been some filler. And WWE seemingly think the experiment has been a success too, as Andrew Zarian, who is apparently today's news' sponsor, said on the Mat Men podcast, here's a little tidbit, expect all WWE pay-per-views to be a bit shorter now. This is a huge win for us fans in the UK who have to stay up and watch them overnight. Specifically me. I'm mostly talking about me. Happy Pride Month, folks! To celebrate all of our LGBTQ+ family, friends, and fans, we have created a special edition WrestleTalk Pride t-shirt, which you can now get from WrestleShop.com, and there's a link for that in the description down below. Not only is this a great way to show your support during Pride Month, all profits from the sale of this t-shirt during Pride Month are going to be donated to Stonewall as well, so you are also giving to a good cause while also looking fly as.
But that hasn't stopped Andy Muschietti giving us some big teasers for this. And the biggest tease, I think, so far has been the one that he dropped on Instagram recently, where he showed us this Batman symbol. Now, we've been kind of hearing that Batman's going to be in the movie. We know that Ben Affleck is going to be reprising his role of Batman from the sort of DCEU world. And also that Michael Keaton is going to be reprising his role of Batman from Tim Burton's Batman '89 and Batman Returns.